Hey, how's it going, everybody? Matt Houston here, and today we're talking about something that I have been bugged endlessly by my friends and my coworkers to review, or, well, read, but I wanted to review it as a first impressions video, and, well, finally here we are. So, class feature variants, so this is gonna be crazy. Apparently they got something for everyone in here. This is going to be fun. So as always with Unearthed Arcanas, they are of course playtest content. They are not officially published. It is not meant for the Adventures League. It is not meant for balance purposes. It is meant to see if this is indeed fun for people to play. Let's see what we got. So this document provides playtest options for every class in the player's handbook. Each class in Dungeons & Dragons gains features at particular levels. Have you ever wanted an alternative one to one of those features? Or do you have a feature that gives you options to choose from that you'd like more of? If your answer is yes to either of these questions, the following class variants are for you. Alright, so it's just some alterations, enhancements, and the such. You'll find features that replace or enhance normal features and character classes. The class feature variants each specifically which feature they replace or enhance, as summarized in the class feature variant table. Which we will skip. I don't want to spoil the names of things and theorize before I get there. If features replaced, you gain no benefit from it and don't qualify for anything in the game that requires it. If a feature enhanced, you continue to enjoy the benefits, but now with new capabilities. The DM decides which options are available in the character of the campaign. A DM is free to prohibit these variants, allow all of them, or make subsets of them available. So we'll see if they like any of these, see how many of these I would actually make available myself. The campaign I'm currently running, people are actually at first level, so it wouldn't be too much of a stretch for me to add these, I should say. I already see that we got something here for the Barbarian, but let's see what we got here. All right, so all classes, so proficiency versatility. So this is an enhancement. Whenever you gain an ability score feature from your class, you can also replace one of the skill proficiencies with the skill proficiency offered by your class at first level. The proficiency you replace needn't be from the class. This class represents one of your. This change represents one of your skill autographies as you focus on different skills. Okay, so I like this. It does allow you to swap in and out the various forms of. It lets you allow you for character transition over time. Someone who normally is very persuasive is becoming much more hardened and much more intimidating over time, or vice versa, would very much benefit from this. That allows them to have a small paradigm shift in their character as they progress up in level. I like this. Barbarians. So survival instinct replaces danger sense. You become proficient in your choice of two of the following skills: animal handling, medicine, nature, perception, or survival. Your bonus proficiency bonus is double for any of these ability checks made with either of those skills. This is cool. This makes the Barbarian a skill character to some degree. It gives them a total of 4 skills and expertise in 2 of them. This is really, really good. I like this. This puts them on par with rogues, actually, in terms of skills. You have a lot more of your outdoors, outside the city kind of skills between medicine, nature, perception, animal handling, and survival. It's much more of the ranger kind of skill set, the scout kind of skill set, but it's puts you in line with the rogue in number of skills available, especially if you take a background that provides you with more skills in general. And not only that, but you also gain expertise in 2 of these skills that you choose. So they're pretty good. Yeah, it actually puts you on par with the rogue. That's actually really interesting. Gives you a lot of roleplay aspects, a lot of things that you can draw on for roleplay. I really like this. Makes him much less of a meathead. Instinctive pounce replaces fast movement. When a creature ends its turn within 15 feet of you, you can use your reaction to move up to half your speed into a space closer to that creature. This movement does not provoke attacks. This is interesting. Early on, this would be really good. It puts your speed at a solid 45 at level 5, which is really, really good. At least at the cost of your reaction. And if you need to use your reaction to get in there, you wouldn't have used it for much else anyways. So this is really, really handy. It also lets you reactively block for other teammates as well, because it is a choice. So you can instead of being in a position, so you can be in a position where you don't know where someone's going to go, and then cut them off on the reaction. I think in the late game, when the barbarian's moving insanely fast all the time, is better than this in the late game, but this is definitely better when you get it initially at 5th level. The barbarians typically don't use their reactions for much other than opportunity attacks, which is what you want to use them on anyways. I think this is good. I think it's a very fair trade-off. Table, we're going to skip the table. Bards can get some additional spells. Aid is the one that stands out here. I don't know why they didn't get aid before. I think that's very, very strange. Hero's Feast, that's another good one. Tensor's Transformation. Ooh, this could make this spell really good. This would allow a bard to be in a position, because bards are already not terrible martial characters. Even the lore bard is not terrible, because this gives you the extra attack. This could actually make a lore bard really, really dangerous as a melee combatant in the niche times he needs to be. Or if your team doesn't have a lot of melee combatants, this actually makes him a pretty dangerous melee combatant. I do have to say, though, I don't like the full combination unless you're not running feats for that spell, just because of the concentration and the saves and the way the whole thing works. But it's a pretty good spell overall. And I actually think this is one of the better classes that you could put it on. I like this. Let's see what else we got here. Everything else kind of makes sense. Yeah, all right, I approve that list. Nothing really stands out as not making sense to me, so I like it. All right, so Magical Inspiration. At 1st level, when you gain the Bardic Inspiration, if a creature has Bardic Inspiration die from you and casts a spell, the creature can roll the die and add the number rolled to 1 damage or 1 healing roll of the spell. The Bardic Inspiration die is then lost. I like this. We don't typically. You had to be the lore bard in order to be able to add damage to the die, or maybe it was the Valor bard. I can't remember. You had to be a specific bard in order to get the damage die for attacks. But spells being slightly more powerful is definitely interesting. I think it being good for spell damage rolls is a little nuts, because spells are able to do multiple targets, especially your mid to high level spells. You know, like Fireball, for example, just adding a D8 to Fireball is a little nuts, but it already does insane damage, so who am I to judge? I think it's healthy for the game to be able to do something like that, especially the healing roll. It gives the ability to characters, to most classes that have healing, being able to push their healing into a spot where it actually will be relevant. An extra D8, it's effectively moving a spell slot from a 1st level to a 2nd level spell slot if you're casting Cure Wounds. And then, of course, it only gets better as the time goes on, especially with Bardic Inspiration being on a short rest. You can just kind of fuel up a little bit with that. Now, you can't stack up Inspiration dice, which is one of the big things here, is that you can't stack them up. So you will only get the 1 die because you can only have 1 die at a time. So that does keep it from getting too insane. I can't imagine this being the healing die being on a life cleric. That would be insane. They already heal quite well, and getting the extra die on a 1st level Cure Wounds, being able to heal for 2d8 plus, what is it, like plus 8 or something like that. It's pretty insane. I think it's strong. I think it's good. It definitely gives more reasons to use the Bardic Inspiration, especially when you have something that uses it in a more active way. But I think I actually really, really like this. I think it's appropriate. Spell versatility. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can replace 1 spell you've learned with this spellcasting feature, with another spell from the Bardic spell list. This spell must be of the same level as the spell you replace. Okay. So, and then they are also mentioning that cantrips are indeed spells that are 0 level, so you can swap those around as well. Everyone, I think it's just the cleric, the druid, and the wizard that can swap their spells around. Everybody else that has magic is kind of locked in their magic. I do like being able to swap cantrips. That one I kind of like. Everybody's going to have their signature cantrips, but being able to swap back and forth on different cantrips I think is way more appropriate. Swapping out spells on a level basis on the long rest does allow for extensive amounts of additional versatility. also keeps certain classes like sorcerers and bards and warlocks from being locked too heavily into their spell lists, which can be a pain if you choose certain spells really early on that you know you'll need but will never need again. It takes you a couple levels to swap them all out, and that can be a problem. I'm starting to experience that right now with my bard. I think that I don't know how I feel about this. I do like how it is very, very limited. It is still a single spell, and it has to be of the same level of the one that you are swapping. So it's not like you can start, just swapping out all your low-level stuff into high-level stuff. I don't know how I feel about this. There are definitely ways I can think of incorporating this into roleplay. Like you're reading new songs and you're memorizing new songs. Like you have to refamiliarize yourself with certain songs, right? Because Bard's magic comes from music. I don't know. I think this is reaching a little bit. I like it, but I don't know if I'd approve of this in my game. I think it's giving a little too much versatility to the classes that have inherent locking on their abilities just to kind of force them to be different. I kind of like the difference, but I definitely see where the joy of being able to constantly swap out your spells are. Clerics, same thing with the clerics, I think. Whenever you gain a class level, you can replace one cantrip you learn with the spellcasting vision with another cantrip. See, this right here, I would just apply to all classes. This right here, I would give to all classes, not this. I like being able to swap cantrips. I think cantrips are your niche things that you should be able to swap back and forth around a lot. Not your leveled spells. I like this. This is appropriate. All right, and then they get their expanded spell list, and they get smites? What? Cause Fear makes sense. Aura Vitality I like. What? Smites? Why give them smites? That's a okay. A couple more auras. Power Word Heal. They didn't get Power Word Heal before? I thought they didn't get Power Word Heal. That doesn't sound right. Cleric spell list. Choose a direction, mass heal, gate. Really? They didn't get mass heal. They got mass heal, not Power Word Heal. Well, who gets Power Word Heal? Is that just... Well, Bard gets Power Word Heal. No wonder Bards are insane. Wait, is the Bard seriously the only one that gets Power Word Heal? The Bard, of all people, gets Power Word Heal, and no one else. Jeez, that's ridiculous. Well, now the Clerics have it. I would have just let them have it anyways, but my goodness, I didn't realize that was a thing. That's crazy. All right, Channel Divinity. You can expend a use of your Channel Divinity to fuel your spells as a bonus action to touch your holy symbol, utter a prayer, and you gain one expanded first level spell slot. I like this. The general value of a Channel Divinity is definitely higher than a first level spell slot, especially as the game progresses. And if you're not going to be using your Channel Divinity for anything, being able to swap it off for a first level spell slot seems very, very appropriate to me. The Sorcerer can do it. The Sorcerer, you can trade sorcery points into spells and vice versa, but they're at a very inefficient way. You can't swap them back and forth at an equal one-to-one level. And I think that's appropriate, and I feel like this is also the case here. This is really good. There's a lot of cases where I've seen people just not use their Channel Divinity because they're not up against undead, and their one thing that their Channel Divinity does outside of that is just not useful a lot of the time. And being able to swap it out for a first level spell slot is definitely worth it. I like this. Blessed Strike. Replaces the Divine Strike and Potent Spellcasting. In battle, you are blessed with the Divine Might. When a creature takes damage from one of your spells or weapon attacks, you can also add a 1d8 radiant damage to that creature. Once you deal this damage, you can't use this feature again. So it's a d8 radiant version of Sneak Attack. I approve this. It's pretty much on par with Divine Strike and Potent Spellcasting. It's just a different way of dealing damage. I like this. Potent Spellcasting is a good way for guaranteed, flat, decent damage by adding your modifier. Divine Strike, similar thing to this, where you just add the extra die. I like this. I think it's a good way of varying the way that damage is done a little bit. All right, cantrip versatility, same thing with the druid. Additional spells, acid splash, very nice. Ceremony, nice. A lot of stuff I approve of. I'm surprised they didn't have Enlarge Reduce before, but they have it now. Wall of Sand, Thunderstep, Revivify. Thank you. I was tired of the clerics being the only one that had Revivify, so it kind of made it feel like if you were playing a bit more of a gritty kind of game where people would go down on a regular basis, you pretty much had to have a cleric in your party, and you pretty much had to have Revivify on standby once you had it. I do like there being versatility in your teams having spells. Revivify being available to druids, I think, is absolutely appropriate. I'm surprised that they didn't have it initially, and I like this. Thunderstep and Wall of Sand and all these other elemental-based things I'm surprised I didn't have before, but I do approve of this. Like Cone of Cold, Fire Shield, Divination, Flesh to Stone just speaks druid to me. Mass Power Word Heal. They're really fleshing out Power Word Heal to classes they feel should have it anyways. I like it so far. All right, Wild Companion. You gain the ability to summon a spirit that assumes an animal form. As an action, you can expend a use of your Wild Shape feature to cast a Find Familiar spell without material components. When you cast this spell in this way, the Familiar is a Fae instead of a beast, and the Familiar disappears after a number of hours equal to half your Druid level. I love this. Find Familiar is one of my favorite spells. Anytime I play a wizard, I always take the Find Familiar spell. If I play a class that can take the Find Familiar spell, even if I can't, I will find a way to take it because I love animal companions, specifically in familiars. Because you can have such weird, fun stuff, and familiars are awesome. There are so many things you can do with them. This solves the problem with something like the Land Druid. This is obviously not for the Moon Druid, and the Land Druid being a very casting heavy class as opposed to a wild shape heavy class or archetype rather, is way better to have something that you can just send out and look through rather than so that when it gets found and destroyed, you're not stuck there with it. And it costs you the same amount of resources to do this. I like this. It's way safer for scouting. Although the Moon Druid could use it for scouting as well, but this is way safer for scouting and provides an amazing option for any class that doesn't use their wild shape for combat very often. This is really, really handy. I like this. Fighter. Fighting style options. So you get a bunch of... When you gain this fighting style feature, you gain access to variant fighting styles. See page 12. Superior techniques allow you... is also added to the list. Okay, so we can also take superior technique. And this is for... Wait, this is for fighting style? You learn one maneuver of your choice from among the available in the Battlemaster archetype. The maneuver you use requires blah, 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 all the saves and all that. You gain a superior die, it's a d6, all the regular stuff. It's basically the feat. You can take that as a fighting style. Huh. That's interesting. You can go super heavy into the martial arts. Like super heavy, or not martial arts, into the battle maneuvers. But that's really, really cool. I like that. So this gives you an extra one, and then you take the feat. Wow, you can have 5 superiority dice and 5 maneuvers at 3rd level. Jeez, that's crazy. You could actually use one every round and use one for your reactions as well. Maneuver versatility. If you know any maneuver of the fighter, you can replace one. No, this is whenever you finish a long rest. Yeah. I think this is appropriate. I think if you were to say, like, I spend an hour perfecting my techniques for the next day, I can see this making sense. It's not really any different than like the cantrips or the spells for other classes, so this is appropriate. Maneuver options. If you have access to maneuvers, the following maneuvers are added to the list available to you. Battle maneuvers are available to the Battlemaster and the characters who have superior technique fighting styles or the martial adeptity. Wait, that means that you can take a maneuver as a paladin. Oh, that's cool. All right, ambush. You make a dexterity stealth check or initiative roll. You can expend one superior die to add that to the die roll. Nice. I like that. Bait and switch. When you're within 5 feet of an ally on your turn, you expend one superior die and switch places with an ally, provided you spend at least 5 feet of movement. The movement does not provoke opportunity attacks. Roll a superior die until the start of your next turn. The ally gains bonus AC equal to that number rolled. So you can literally protect allies now. You can literally just say, nope, pull someone behind you and start fending. This is amazing for like save this guy kind of scenarios where you have to fight your way out. Bonus to armor class. So you can really stack someone's armor class up pretty high, actually, even if they only have like 12. Like, assuming that you put mage armor on your person that you need to protect, giving them base 13, they have maybe a +1, so we'll say 14. You roll a d8, because this is, say, 3rd level or higher, and you're a fighter. You roll a d8, you're rolling a 5 on average, a 4 or 5 on average. That puts this guy that normally has no armor up to 18, 17, 18, which is very competitive. Especially up until around 5th or 6th level, it's very competitive. And even then, it's not bad. That's very good. I actually really, really like that. And that's protecting the package kind of deal. You put this on with another fighter or a barbarian or somebody else that's in the front line with you, then you can make them pretty hard to hit until the start of your next turn. So they have that for an entire round too. So they can just get in there if they need to as well. That's cool. I like that. Race. When an enemy you can see moves within 5 feet of you, you can use your reaction to expend 1 superior die and make 1 weapon attack against that creature. If the attack hits, add the superior die to the damage roll. When an enemy you see moves within 5 feet of you, so it's kind of like the pole arm master reactionary attack. So this is actually really, really handy. You can expend a superiority die to get an attack off. It costs you a reaction still, but being in a position where someone's moving in and you know that no one's going to be moving out, being able to ensure that you're going to be able to attack, and you get the superiority die for extra damage. That's pretty good. I like that. I'd take that. Now, most of these are pretty strong, so I don't know if I'd approve most of these, but they're cool. I like them. They're awesome. They're interesting. Restraining Strike. Immediately after you hit a creature with a melee attack on your turn, you can expend 1 superiority die and use a bonus action to grapple the target. Awesome. Add superiority die to the strength athletics check. The target is also restrained while you grapple in this way. Awesome. We have the grappler. Yes, we have a grappler. Oh, I want to do this. Unarmed fighting style like barbarian or something like that. This is cool. I'd love this. Sometime when you make a charisma deception check or a charisma persuasion check, you can expend 1 superior die and add the superior die to the ability check. I like this. This is appropriate. Snipe. As a bonus action, you can spend 1 superior die and make a ranged weapon attack as a bonus action. Oh, you can draw a thrown weapon as part of making this attack. If you hit, add the superior die to the attack's damage. That's pretty cool. I like that. That gives you an option to a bow-oriented fighter. As opposed to the crossbow fighter, it gives an option to a bow fighter as well. Studious Eye. When you make a wisdom insight check or an intelligence investigation check, you can expend 1 superior die and add the superior die to the ability check. This is cool. I really like this Studious Eye, this Ambush, and Silver Tongue. This gives... There's a lot of things that you see in media, whether it's written or video or movie or otherwise, where you see these knights or these guardians, we'll say. The guardians are a good way of putting it, where they're just so good at everything, right? They're incredible combatants. They're amazing talkers. They're fantastic at various things. This lets you do that. These let you do that. This is really, really good. All right, let's see what the monks have. You can use this feature to define your monk weapon. Hold on. You can use this feature to define your monk weapons rather than using the definition in martial arts. I don't know what that is off the top of my head. I'd have to look that up again. You practice your martial arts with especially with chosen weapons, which become monk weapons for you. You choose the number of weapons to be your monk weapons equal to 5 plus your wisdom modifier. The chosen weapons must each meet the following criteria. So you can just choose your weapons? Yeah, so you can just choose. Okay. The weapon must be simple or martial. You must be proficient at that weapon. The weapon must lack these properties: heavy, special, or two-handed. Isn't that pretty much the same? I gotta look this up. Isn't that basically the same? Gives you mastery combat using unarmed strikes and monk weapons, which are short swords and any simple melee weapon that doesn't have the two-hand or heavy property. Oh. So this lets you expand it to martial weapons, but you have very specific ones. Wait, no. Hold on. But the monk is proficient in only simple weapons, aren't they? They're only proficient in simple weapons and short swords. So it's... What? I guess this is more for multi-classing. That's not really adding anything to the monk. It's giving you more versatility on... I think it's giving you more versatility on paper. But I've never had a problem with a monk being able to use some other weapon that isn't inherently on their list, because they had things like the quarterstaff, which was a D8 weapon anyways. They had... So this does actually let you add the longsword, which can be a D10 weapon if you use both hands on it. But I mean, it's not a big deal. I never had problems with people using different weapons with different classes that don't inherently have it. I think this is kind of silly. On paper, it makes sense to have it, but so this actually doesn't mean anything for me. But I do like that it's on paper. If you spend 1 key point as part of your action, your turn, you can immediately make one armed strike as a bonus action. Can you spend key points on your turn as actions without attacking? I guess you can if you're the Way of the Four Elements monk. You can use this to make a bonus unarmed strike attack without spending additional key to do it when you don't take the attack action. Okay, this actually is really, really good for the Way of the Four Elements monk. This I can actually get behind. This is really, really good. When you gain key feature at 2nd level, you can access the following features. Okay, so we also have a couple of different things here. When you make a ranged weapon attack, you can spend 1 key point to prevent attacking at long range from imposing disadvantage on your attack rolls until the end of the current turn. Very nice. So you can just focus in on that instant. I like that. Quickened healing is an action. You can spend 2 key points and roll a martial arts die. So D4, D6, D8. I think it goes up to a D10. You gain a number of hit points equal to the number rolled. So it's basically a second wind, or a less good second wind. And it costs you 2 key points. It's nice. I think it's not very strong. It's good if you need that like immediate boost in health. But there's a lot of things that the monk can do, I think, more efficient than trying to heal themselves. It's a nice option to be in there. I don't think it's particularly useful myself. There's probably a way to use it usefully, but use it usefully. There's a phrase. All right, fighting styles for the paladin. You also get Blessed Warrior. You learn 2 cantrips of your choice from the cleric spell list. They count as paladin spells for you. The charisma is your spellcasting ability for them. Whenever you gain a level in this class, you can replace one of the cantrips with another cantrip of the cleric spell list. And so that is a fighting style. Interesting. So you can be more of a casting kind of paladin. I like that. I've been wanting cantrips for the paladin and the ranger for forever. They are finally here, and you swap them out for fighting style. I imagine the ranger probably has the same thing. But, oh, this is good. I like this. Paladin spells. Gentle Riposte. I'm surprised they didn't have that before. Prayer of Healing. Makes sense. Warring Bond. Life Transference. Spirit Guardians. Really? They have Spirit Guardians? Dawn. Flame Strike. I approve. I approve all these. Smite things with heresy that have heresy. I approve of this. You can expend the use of your Channel Divinity for the spell slot of 1st level. I like that. Paladins actually didn't get very much. They got a few extra spells and they got the Blessed Warrior. Which, I mean, to be fair, Paladins are really, really good. So I actually like this. Ranger. Oh, Ranger. The problem child of the player's handbook. What did they give you to hopefully make you more in line with everyone else? Replace Natural Explorer. Okay. You are an unsurpassed explorer and survivor. Choose one of the following benefits and then choose another one at 6th and 10th level. So you can eventually get 3 of these. Canny. Choose 1 skill. Animal handling, athletics, history, insight, investigation, medicine, nature, perception, stealth, or survival. You gain the proficiency in the chosen skill if you don't already have it. and you can double your proficiency bonus and the ability using that skill. Awesome. So expertise in one skill. In addition, thanks to your extensive wandering, you are able to speak, read, and write 2 languages of your choice. Thank you. This is very handy for the traveler. This is nice. I like this. This is very good. And you get this at first level? First level. Very good. Roving. Your walking speed increases by 5 feet. You gain a climb speed and a swim speed equal to your walking speed. Awesome. That's super good. It's like the park ranger, like the modern ranger, where they're just able to traverse any kind of terrain very, very effectively. I like that. It also means that you can do this in things that are any terrain. You don't have a specific favored terrain that you have to do this in, because Natural Explorer. All right, Tireless. As an action, you can give yourself a number of temporary hit points equal to 1d10 plus your wisdom modifier, so second wind, but it stacks on top. You can use this special action a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. In addition, when you finish a short rest, your exhaustion level, if any, decreases by 1. Oh man, this is strong. That's way better than second wind. You can do things to, you can just use things that do things that would cause you exhaustion and ignore them on a short rest? That's crazy. Temporary hit points don't stack. Yes, I am very aware of this. Favorite foe. So this replaces favorite enemy. You can call on the bond with nature to mark a creature as your favorite enemy for a time. You know the Hunter's Mark spell, and the wisdom is your spellcasting ability modifier for it. You can use it as a certain number of times without expending a spell slot, and without requiring concentration. A number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, minimum of once. You gain all uses of this on a long rest. When you get the spellcasting feature at second level, the Hunter's Mark doesn't count against the number of ranger spells you know. What? That's crazy. This is really, really good for the ranger. Oh man, one of the problems with the ranger, they're good in the early game, but one of the problems with the ranger is that their damage would fall off because they had to be concentrating on Hunter's Mark, but so many of their other good spells and tricks that make them in line with the rest of the team required concentration from them. This not requiring concentration, even twice a day, being able to apply Hunter's Mark, you never need to use the spell slots. And the fact that you can do this without needing concentration is insane. Oh man, stacking that with Hex would be nuts. You could actually do that. That's disgusting. That's a first level thing. Ugh. That's just not fair. Oh, whatever. Playtest material. So I imagine they'll probably take away the fact of not requiring concentration if they ever publish this. Fighting styles, same thing as before. Druidic Warrior, is that the 2 cantrips? Yes, it's the 2 cantrips for the ranger. They also get an additional set of spells. Entangle, thank you. Searing Smite, I like that. Aid, Gust of Wind, Warning Bond, Blinding Smite, Revivify. They get Revivify now. Interesting. I mean, at the point in the game, I guess it kind of makes sense. And the druids having it makes it actually make a lot of sense too. Death Ward, Dominate Beat. Oh, they get Death Ward. Awaken, Greater Restoration. I like this additional spell list. I like it. I approve. Spell versatility. You can also swap your spells around, like the Bard, like the Paladin, like any other class that doesn't inherently able to swap out their entire spell list. Sorry, not the Paladin. Paladin can just choose. Spell casting focus. Is it just a druid focus? It's a druid focus. Primeval awareness. So this replaces, oh no, it's primal awareness, not primeval awareness. This replaces primeval awareness. You can focus your awareness through the interconnections of nature. You learn additional spells when you reach a certain levels in this class if you don't already know them, as shown in the table of primal awareness spells. These spells don't count against the number of ranger spells you know. So you get so you can be more of a magic-oriented ranger or of a non-magic-oriented ranger. I like this. So you get detect magic, speak with animals, be sense, locate animal plants, speak with plants, locate creature, communicate with nature. A lot of nature-oriented stuff. I like this. I like this a lot. You can cast these once. You can cast each of these spells once without expending a spell slot. Once you cast a spell in this way, you can't do it again until you finish the long rest. Wow! Just use these every day. That's awesome. That's cool. Fade away replaces hide in plain sight. You can use a bonus action to magically become invisible along with any equipment that you are wearing or carrying to the start of your next turn. It's like the Furbog racial feature. Nice. Short and long rest. Ranger Companion Option enhances Beast Ranger Companion for the Beast Master. Okay. So this is one of the problems with the Ranger was the Beast Master, because we found a way that if you played a halfling or something and you just got a horse or like you had a mounted unit, it would actually be better because you're using the mounted rules. It was kind of sad, truth be told. I was a little sad when I found out that you could use the mounted rules and the Beast Companion would actually be better than if it was just a companion running around. While wandering the wilds, you get a bunch of different animals. Friendship, this is all stuff that's in the player's handbook. Even stronger bonds. Yeah, this is all the same stuff as before. The primal beast can be created by its masters. When you choose such a beast, you can decide on the beast of air or earth, and you determine its appearance. The stories describe primal beasts that mystically change in line with the spirit of their companion. When primal beasts met apart from a beast master, the creature takes the form of a regular beast in challenge rating of 1d4 or lower as determined by the DM. So beast of air, okay. So hit points is still the Constitution mod plus your Wisdom mod plus 5 times the Ranger level. So 15 plus 2 plus 1. So that's 18 hit points. Not bad. The beast has a number of hit dice equal to D6 of your Ranger's level. Oh, when it's no longer yours. All right. Fly speed, move speed, saving throws, pretty strong. Perception, stealth. Dark vision, flyby, nice. Primal rebirth. This is the 1 hour first level spell slot thing. Yeah. Raid companion. As a bonus action, you can command the beast to make a shred attack, so that you can use this as a bonus action. Yes, thank you. Shred is a 1d6 plus 3. Not bad. It's an extra attack. Beast of Earth, medium beast. Neutral. Hit points, armor class is the same. It has less armor class than the... interesting. It has a 40-foot climb or swim, your choice when you bond with the beast. Okay, so you can get one or the other. So you can actually take this, what is it? What was it? The, not tireless, the roving feature, and then just be everywhere with your Earth Beast companion. You also gain... charge. Nice. That's a nice little benefit. Ready companion and the ready ability can also make the either attack with the maul attack, and it's a 1d6 plus 2. Nice. These are cool. I like these. This really brings the animal companion into a spot where it feels like you're really getting something out of it. This is awesome. I like this. Rogues. We get a new cutting action. Aim. I think I know where this is going. You gain additional way to use your cutting action. Carefully aiming your next attack as a bonus action, you give yourself advantage on the next attack roll on that creature's turn. On your current turn. You can use this bonus action only if you haven't moved during this turn and after you use your bonus action. Your speed is 0 until the end of your current turn. Okay, so this is very much like that, like, you're aiming and you're making sure you got that shot. This sounds insane at first, but I'm going to say this. It really doesn't actually do a huge amount for your typical rogue. Your typical rogue is spending their bonus action to hide in some arbitrary location anyways. They probably have a expertise in stealth. They're probably rolling in the mid-20s. Nothing knows where they are exactly or when they're going to pop out and shoot again. And they have advantage on the attack roll anyways. In addition to that, it's not hard for the rogue, if it's a melee rogue, to reposition a lot around someone who is fighting them anyways, and you will get advantage with that as well. So advantage is pretty common, and in times that you don't have advantage, you're usually trying to focus fire, which means that there's someone else already fighting the stupid thing. So you may not get advantage, but you're going to get sneak attack anyways. Sneak attack, I feel like, goes off, I want to say somewhere around 80 to 90%, so around 85% of the time, sneak attack is going off anyways. So that extra little bit more often isn't really going to change very much. And let's be honest here, anytime the rogue doesn't get sneak attack, it's like, feels bad, man. Feels bad. So I'm actually very welcoming of this. I feel like this isn't going to actually... This does help the rogue that doesn't have melee combatant companions. If you have a party of range-oriented characters, this really helps out the rogue. Get that sneak attack. So there is that. So it's certainly circumstantial. It's not something that's going to fit every single rogue, and it's not going to break the game. I think this is actually very... I would actually add this just outright. I feel like this is a very appropriate ability for anyone to have. All right, sorcerers. You get a few additional spells. Yeah, appropriate spells, I'd say. Spell versatility, same thing as before. Font of magic options. So you gain the following font of magic options. So you get empowering reserves. When you make an ability check on your turn, you can spend 2 sorcery points to gain advantage on the check. Interesting. I like that. Imbuing touch. As an action, you can touch one non-magical weapon and spend 2 sorcery points to imbue it with magic for 1 minute. For the duration, the weapon is considered magical for the purpose of overcoming immunities and resistances of magic. So that's pretty cool. If you're facing against something that requires magical weapons, and the person that you're teamed up with has to use, random sword off the ground because circumstance, then being able to spend 2 sorcery points to put somebody else legitimately right into the fight sounds pretty awesome, honestly. I like that. This is, again, pretty niche, but I like it. Sorcerer's Fortitude. As an action, you can spend any number of your sorcery points to roll a d4 for each point expended. You gain a number of temporary hit points equal to the total rolled. I don't know if I would use this particularly often. It's only a d4, but if you're in a position where you can't escape and you're going to take damage, pooling all your sorcery points into d4s worth of hit points. So you got 5 sorcery points and you pool them all into d4s. That's 5d4. That's still, it's 2.5 per die. So that's 5 times 2.5, which is actually 12.5. So like 13 hit points on average. So that's pretty good. 13 hit points on average. Can't complain about that. Can definitely save your bacon. I'll say that. That can definitely save your bacon. All right. Metamagic options. Okay, so metamagic. Elemental spell. When you cast a spell that deals a type of damage from the following list, you can spend 1 sorcery point to change the damage type to one other listed. So acid, cold, fire, lightning, and thunder. This is good for elemental-oriented sorcerers like the sea sorcerer or the phoenix sorcerer that want to take spells other than the ones that are of their specific element anyways, and then reflavor them so that they're like that. Like, for example, the sea sorcerer would be able to alter it to be cold, so it's a big fireball. Instead of a fireball, it's an ice ball. I like that. Or a thunder ball, or a lightning ball, or an acid ball. Giant acidic explosion. That's cool. I like that. I want to do that now. There is a feat that does that anyways, if my memory serves correctly, but that's pretty cool. I like this. Seeking spell. When you make a spell that requires you to make a spell attack or forces the target to make a dexterity saving throw, you can spend 1 sorcery point to ignore the effects of half and 3/4 cover against the target of that spell. So it's kind of like a spell sniper attribute. Like it does the same thing as spell sniper does, but it lets you apply it to a specific spell, and it doesn't force you to take the feat. Especially, and you don't always play with feats. I know there are people that literally do not play with feats, which I can appreciate, not gonna lie. This is actually pretty interesting. I like this. This is really, really cool. Unnerving spell. When you make an attack roll for a spell and miss, you spend 2 story points to re-roll the attack. You must take the result of the second roll. I mean, you already missed, so whatever. You use the unnerving spell, even if you have already used a different meta magic option during the casting of the spell. That's nice. So you can really make sure that empowered spell, like at low level, that empowered chromatic orb. All right, warlocks. We're almost there, guys. We're down in the W's. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can place one of your spells for the pack magic feature. Pretty standard stuff. Additional warlock spells. Oh, do they get tensors? No, or not tensors. No, they don't get tensors transformation. Sad face. Tensors transformation would be so good for the warlock. Oh, specifically the Hexblade. Everything else here, though, does make sense. I wish Weird was a better spell. All right, Eldritch Invocation options. So you have Bond of the Talisman. Okay. I guess we'll get to this in a minute. While someone else is wearing your talisman, you can use your action to teleport to an unoccupied space closest to them. Provided the two of you are on the same plane of existence, the wearer of your talisman can do the same thing, using their action to teleport to you. All right, so that's like a limited dimension door. 12th level, so that's not really that outlandish at that point. That's really cool to have. We're going to see what is this talisman thing. We'll find out in a minute, I guess. Chainmaster's Fury. As a bonus action, you can command your familiar to make one attack. Thank you. Pact of the Chain, way better now. I love that. Pact of the Blade feature. As an action, you can touch the suit of armor that isn't being worn or carried by anyone and instantly don it, provided you aren't wearing armor already. You are proficient with this suit of armor until it is removed. Pact of the Blade in heavy armor? You can dump stat dex for strength now? Oh, that's so cool. Oh, I like this. Oh, that's amazing. I want to do that now. I always wanted the big heavy armor warlock, and now I can do it. All right, Eldritch Mind, Pact of the Tome feature. You have advantage on Constitution saving throws that make you maintain your spell concentration. Thank you. Oh, that is so good. You don't have to take the feature anymore. You probably want to take the feature anyways, but this is good. I like this. This is good. I love Pact of the Tome is probably my second. Yeah, it's up there. Pact of the Chain has always been at the bottom for warlocks. I always like the Pact of the Blade and the Pact of the Tome. Pact of the Blade specifically after the Hexblade came out, because I had a character that was a Hexblade in the previous edition, and I was like, yes, I can play this character properly now, and oh man. Let's see, Far Scribes is a 5th level Pact of the Tome. A new page appears in your Book of Shadows. With your permission, a creature can use its action to write the name in the page, which can contain a number of names equal to your charisma modifier, 5. You can cast the Sending spell, targeting a creature whose name is on the page without using a spell slot and without using material components. To do so, you must write the message in the page. The target hears the message in their mind, and the target replies, their message appears on the page, rather than in your mind. The writing disappears after 1 minute. Cool. As an action, you can magically erase a name on the page by touching the name. That's awesome. I like that. It's thematic. I like that. That's really cool. Gift of the Protectors. All right, same thing. 9th level Pact of the Tome. A new page appears in your Book of Shadows. With the permission, a creature can use it to write their name, number of equal to your charisma. When a creature whose name is on the page is reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, the creature magically drops to 1 hit point instead, so Death Ward. Once this magic is triggered, no creature can benefit from it until you finish a long rest. So it's a long rest, one-time person, party-wide. So you can put a party-wide Death Ward that works once per long rest. That's dope. I like that. That's cool. As an action, you can magically erase the name. That's cool. That's awesome. I love that. Pact of the Chain feature. When you cast the Find Familiar, so your little buddy, you infuse the summoned familiar with a measure of your eldritch power, gaining the feature, granting the creature the following benefits. Familiar gains either a fly speed or a swimming speed, your choice, of 40 feet. Nice. Familiar no longer needs to breathe. Familiar's weapons are considered magical. If the familiar forces a creature to make a saving throw, you use your spell DC instead. That's really good. So it actually makes it like a very good, powerful familiar. You can really invest into it. That's awesome. Protection of the Talisman. So another talisman one. When you wear of the talisman makes a saving throw which they lack proficiency, they can add a d4. So this basically adds proficiency at the low level. Well, it's 9th level, so you wouldn't. So adds 2.5 on average. So that's for not being proficient in the save, that's a really nice boost. Rebuke of the Talisman. So this is one that you can just grab outright. When the wearer of your talisman is hit by an attacker they can see within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction to deal psychic damage to the attacker equal to your charisma modifier, so 5, and push them up to 10 feet away from the talisman's wearer. Cool. So you can really like protect someone else with that talisman. That's cool. Pact Moon. Okay, so here's the talisman. So what is that? Patron gives you a special amulet, a talisman that can aid you or anyone else who wears it when the need is great. When the wearer makes an ability check with a skill in which they lack proficiency, they can add a d4 to the roll. Nice. If you lose the talisman, you can perform the ritual, ceremony, blah, 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 blah. Okay. The talisman turns to ash when you die. Okay, so this is the supporty. Oh, this is a support-oriented warlock. Oh, man. That's my favorite thing to play is support. Oh, this is cool. Give the talisman to someone. Give the talisman to a fighter or a barbarian. Yeah, give the talisman to a barbarian. They will be making skill checks left, right, and center, and they get a d4. I do them all the time. You could stack this with guidance, too. Oh, that's so good. All right. Wizard. What does the wizard get? The wizard shouldn't get much. The wizard's already really, really strong. You can replace the cantrips whenever you like on the long rest. Oh, gain a level, sorry. A couple of additional spells. So this is specific ones added to specific wizards. So the divination wizard gets augury. The enhanceability, the transmutation wizard gets enhanceability. The necromancer gets speak with dead. Okay. And then divination also gets so there's a couple of things for divination that they kind of lacked. So they really just got like a couple additional spells to tidy up the divination and the divination wizard and the necromancer. Okay, so they just kind of fixed the spell list a little bit. Okay. Fighting styles. So martial versatility, fighter, paladin, and ranger. So this is the fighting styles. When you gain a level in the class, has the ability you can replace the fighting style you know with another one. I don't know if I like this. Being able to swap your fighting styles out doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, because it's something that you specifically train to be good at. I don't know if I like this specifically, the training of the fighting styles, because there isn't a lot of means for you to learn multiple fighting styles that easily in that way. I don't know. I don't know if I like that. But regardless, style options. So here's the fighting styles. What do we got? So blind fighting. Being unable to see a creature doesn't impose disadvantage on your attack roll against it, provided the creature isn't hidden from you. So if you're blind, it doesn't matter for your attack rolls. You don't know where stuff is, but your attack rolls are still the same. So if you're fighting with someone and then you end up blind for the turn, you can still attack the creature that's right next to you so long without disadvantage, so long as it doesn't take a hide action or leave its space. It's kind of weird with the way that the rules work, but I think that's how that would work. It's interesting. I don't know if I'd ever take that. That's a very interesting. That seems like an Underdark kind of thing. I'm not sure whether or not I'd actually ever use that. Interception. When a creature that you can see hits a target that is within 5 feet of you with an attack, you can use your reaction to reduce the damage of the target takes by 1d10 plus your proficiency bonus to a minimum of 0. You must be wielding a shield or a simple or martial weapon to use this reaction. So it's another protection-oriented fighting style. I like this. I think this is good. A nice little addition. Thrown weapon fighting. Okay. You can draw a weapon that has the thrown property as part of an attack when you make it with the weapon. Nice. In addition, when you hit with the ranged attack a thrown weapon, you gain a +1 bonus to all damage rolls. So basically the on paper allowing for you to be a knife throwing crazy person or an axe throwing nut. The rules as written states that you can only draw one weapon at a time. So this never worked as rules as written. Though I know that most DMs that I've played with are like, I don't care. You can just keep pulling weapons and keep throwing them. But you do get +1 bonus on the damage rolls for this, so that's pretty cool. I like that. Unarmed fighting. Oh no. And they have a grapple martial ability as well. Just, okay, here we go. Your unarmed strike can deal bludgeoning damage equal to a d6 plus your strength mod. Oh, the strength unarmed fighter is here. If you strike with 2 free hands, which, I mean, why wouldn't you? The d6 becomes a d8. When you successfully start grappling, you can deal 1d4 bludgeoning damage to a grappled creature. Until the grapple ends, you can also deal this damage to the creature whenever you hit with a melee attack while grappling. So, all right, I'm just going to throw this out there. Human variant fighter, tavern brawler, unarmed fighting with the grapple ability, with the grapple martial ability. You are going to be able to grapple people as part of your attacks, restrain them, and just keep doing damage. This is awesome. I want to play this now. Oh, it's a 13-page document with literally less than one thing on it. Oh, man. Things that stand out to me. Well, the unarmed fighter stands out to me. That's for sure. The ranger. Oh, man. Let's work our way back up. The warlock's talisman and a couple of these new invocations are pretty sweet. I would love to play any of those. Let's see here. Font of Magic. The meta magic stuff is interesting. The Ranger, though, the Rogue got a nice little addition. The Ranger got a lot of love. Oh, man. I would actually just swap all this out for the Ranger's new thing right now. Like, I would honestly just say, this is the Ranger that you play now. This is insane. This is so good. I love this. What else we got here? We got still in the Ranger. My goodness. We got the monk stuff. The monk stuff is kind of interesting. The monk is in a pretty good place, so I think this is perfectly fine. Specifically, key fueled strike. This right here is a big thing for the Avatar monk, as we have come to call it, the Way of the Four Elements monk. The Avatar monk needed a way to keep up in the damage department with the unarmed strikes, because you couldn't do that without attacking, and when you were using your key to constantly cast spell-like abilities, the monk always had issues being able to just like beat something down. This lets you do both. It's not insane because you can't use flurry of blows with this as well, but being able to use like water whip, pull somebody towards you, and then just bash them in the head, this is very much welcome. This really brings the Avatar monk, I think, way back in line with a lot of the other archetypes. I think that is like I feel like the wave of the Avatar monk was never terrible, because they also could get their spells, their spells, because it's key fueled. They got their spells back on short rests. So they were able to keep going a lot more like the warlock was able to, which, if you attribute the idea that the spells are much like the pack magic, they're actually pretty good. So I can't say that I dislike the Avatar monk as much as I used to. The problem is that a lot of the other abilities that the monk had kind of just outshined it. This really brings it back in the line. I like this. The paladin, very much where a couple of quality life additions. I really like the spell casting ability that the paladin and the ranger now have. The extra maneuvers that are available. The fact that the maneuvers are available as a fighting style, so the paladin and the ranger also have access to them outside of the feats, are really, really nice. Snipe being something super useful for the ranger. Studious Eye being good for the ranger. Silver Tongue being great for the paladin. Restraining Strike being insane for the fighter. Brace being good for anybody. Like, these are all really, really good things for anyone. The Druid gaining the Wild Companion ability. I love the Find Familiar spell. This being able to swap it in for your Wild Shape ability is a really, really nice addition. I really appreciate that. Clerics kind of left in the same position that they were, just giving a slight alternative to the one way they do damage. Bards given the magical inspiration. I don't know how I feel about this. I feel like this is a little nuts, because I think that this should be specifically given to at 3rd level when you gain your archetypes personally, but that's perfectly fine with that. Beyond that, Barbarian got some nice additional alternatives. Overall, I'm very happy with just about everything they put in here. It was a lot to take in. There's a lot of benefits, a lot of really good alternatives. The Ranger got a lot of love that it needed. The Beast Ranger is fixed as far as I'm concerned, simply because you can say, bonus action, attack that thing, which was honestly one of the things that could honestly just bring the Beast Companion really in the line. Again, when you find a way to make the mounted unit better than the bear, simply because the bear is kind of just stuck there not doing much most of the time, it becomes disheartening to ever take it and just be a paladin instead. Oh man, I love this. This was they did a lot of things right in here, and this, I think they made an announcement that they were tinkering with classes a long time ago. I want to say like 2 years ago almost. And this is a good thing. I love this. They did a really good job. Well done, Wizards of the Coast. I wish I knew who was directly responsible for this. I'm going to say probably Jeremy Crawford. Oh man, well done guys. This is really good. I appreciate all this. So, that's just about the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching. And I am out of breath because there is a lot to unpack, and I've been going for recording for pretty close to an hour now. Man, oh man, this is a lot. I appreciate this. I appreciate you guys. Do make a comment in the Trolls Nest on the other side. Tell me your thoughts on this. Man, this is great. If you like my content, don't forget to leave one. Don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss my video. And until next time, guys, have a good day.